Hey, everybody, your favorite Grawlix Saves the World member. This is Ben. We are, no, I'm just, well, it is true. I'm just stating what they were thinking. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I are here. But we're dropping into your feed right now with a very special surprise. This is an episode of Boi Crazy.
Our pod within a pod.
Oh, my gosh.
Boi Crazy.
Oh, my gosh. I do not want to tell you which one this is. You're just going to have to.
But you have to.
No. You just got to listen to this one.
They probably already saw by clicking on the episode, which had
okay, I'm going to say it. It's Beverly Hills 90210. And oh my God, does it get insane? I want to apologize to you both because there was some yelling.
It gets heated.
Heated. But it's because we care. Because we
Trigger
care about
warning,
this.
Dad yells at Dad, yells at Dad.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Anyway, we hope you enjoy this episode of Boi Crazy. And the only thing I can say right now is Boi Crazy. That's Boi Crazy.
Andrew, I love that. You slowed it down. You felt the drip on that one. That's nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That theme song sounds like two cats fighting in the night.
Mm-hmm. And what, you mean the theme song I made?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like when you wake up, and your heart is pounding, and you're like, "What was that noise?" It's two cats fighting outside your window. That's that song, like energy it gives me.
I agree to disagree. It's two cats who are definitely getting into it in the alley, but I don't think they're fighting, my friend. I think they're kind of fond. I think they're kind of fond of one another.
I'm also just trying to rile Ben up to provoke our antagonistic relationship on the episode.
Well, it's not, Andrew, you don't have to rile me up. You'll just start talking and it will naturally come out.
I wanted to get ahead.
Yeah, no, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to start a fire before the kindling has properly dried. But don't worry about it. It'll dry. Don't waste your matches.
I was a bad scout.
You were
I appreciate the gesture, Andrew, because it has been a while since we did a Boi Crazy, and so
I want to capture that chemistry of Ben furious at me immediately.
But the thing is that while we haven't recorded a Boi Crazy in quite some time, I would argue that the three of us are always sort of on Boi Crazy prowl.
High alert
for hunks. Hunk alert. And it's frustrating now that we record these more intermittently. A lot of times I'll see a hunk, I'll be like, damn, I wish I could talk about this with my boys, but no, I just got to swallow it and just keep.
For me, I find I get indigestion if I don't share it. So I just kind of elbow whoever's next to me. I go, get a load of the caboose on this guy, and then
hunk alert.
And
I
usually,
no one.
either they appreciate it because they too admire beauty in the world when they encounter it, or they're creeped out, and that's their loss. That's your loss.
You go, hey. You into trains? Because check out that caboose.
Well, I think my approach to it is I silently make lists, but I kind of whisper to myself while I'm doing them.
Nice.
And I may be in public
you're in
places.
the aisle at Trader Joe's just whispering your hunk list.
You would be 3 behind that guy in aisle 6 because what I do is I rate hunks in the place. I'll be like hunks of Trader Joe's today.
Yep.
You know, and then I go through and I list them. And the other day there was a brunette man in there that I tell you what, he won by a fucking landslide.
Nice.
There were a lot of goofy bastards in there.
By a
gland slide. Yeah. Dude,
Is that what you refer to?
Landslide.
That's when one boy wins over another boy in a hunk tournament.
It's a glandslide.
It's a glandslide.
I like it. Let's get to the subject at hand today. We have a very
it's classic.
It's pivotal. It's seminal in all of our upbringing.
I'm actually shocked we haven't done this before because when you think...
when producer Ron pitched it, I was like, we already did that. And I was like, oh, no.
I had the same thought because it's such a classic hunk-off. You would think we would have gotten to it right away, but I guess, as hunk connoisseurs, we do kind of cast a wide net, and nice to circle back to, I guess, the Mount Rushmore.
This is an ocean filled with micro hunks.
And we're not cleaning them out.
We're not cleaning it up. It is
not my job. Not my job.
The Great Pacific Hunk Patch.
I'll tell you what. I booked a vacation on that thing. I got an Airbnb for 3 weeks in January.
Of hunks
on the hunk
out
patch.
In the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
I'm taking Katie and the boys. We're having a little vacay.
Well, I can't freaking wait. I want to stop by. Because this one, everybody...
Just seagulls picking at the mangled bodies of hunks clumped together in the Pacific Ocean.
And it's all it's clearly mixed in with like trolling nets.
Yeah,
and
plastic bottles.
Rings.
Yeah.
They're all sickly or dead or dying. It's not good.
Cut up your six-pack rings. Hunks are getting trapped in them, and it's tragic.
Cut up the six-packs on a hunk because the sea turtles do love to get their heads in there. And this one, though,
so why don't we say what it is? Ben, go ahead.
This one is legitimately...
Enough teasing. Everyone is salivating
How did we not do perhaps one of the biggest hunkocopias out there? Everybody, today it is Beverly Hills 90210. Of course, that being a zip code, which I just learned.
Thank you, Ben.
Wow.
So you spent time. Oh, you just learned that.
Yes, I lived in Los Angeles.
Like part of a phone number?
A 90210. Yeah, I had no idea. I thought it was a locker combination.
You know what I thought it was? Because LA is so overcrowded, I thought that was the amount of kids at that high school. 90,120 kids went to that high school. And that's a lot.
Wow.
Class size. Yeah. I mean, you're looking at 250 kids in every class. That's huge.
And you actually knew the number and you got the number wrong at the school. That was impressive too.
Yes.
That would be 90,210, but
Yeah, math was never a strong suit.
No.
I was more of a arts guy at the school.
You were. Well, anybody listening, you know that this show was, it wasn't just a television show. It was a cultural phenomenon.
And it's a time capsule of the 90s. And it literally ran for all of the 90s. It debuted in 1990 and it ended in 2000. If you want a slice of the 90s, it's Beverly Hills 90210.
So that means for you, Andrew, it narrated the story of your 40s. It was the soundtrack. Of your 40s.
No. Ron, leave the gap of silence in there, please. Thank you.
There was only silence because I was laughing so hard I wasn't able to get it out. Like it's one of those, like, I can't actually make a noise yet. God, that was good, Adam. And this is why I connect with you so much better on this podcast. Well, obviously. And the other fact is, Andrew, I think we should just first ask you, have you ever seen this show? Were you allowed to watch it? And was it considered satanic? And how was it satanic? Actually, let's just skip.
As
we
know
it
the number
considered.
9 is the number 6 upside down. And many believe that the show was about a new age cult that was operating in the sin pit of Los Angeles.
That's what I meant. That's what I was saying. I was saying that. So
I was allowed to watch it. And
did you, though? Or were you by that point a full-out scumpunker?
I was a young adult. In the mid 90s. So I did see some episodes. I'll be honest. I don't even know if I watched even one full season of the show.
This is what I'm fucking talking about, Adam.
It was not
Why
my
is he
vibe.
here?
I don't know.
It was not
I
my
think
vibe.
I don't know. I
was
think we've signed some
watching-
contract early on, and it's like we're stuck. But I
I
don't.
was watching the Mission Impossible remake. I was watching something else if I could watch
you
TV.
suck so bad.
And watching these like proud crowd rich kids. I
Wow.
was not into it.
This
I was not
is
into
Jesus
it.
Christ. Okay, the
I was
fucking.
not into it.
You
But
just
I
not-
know, but I have seen the episodes. I was absolutely familiar with the show, and that,
First of all,
somebody
Brandon
else
and
would
Brenda
watch it.
weren't rich. They moved from Minnesota. Okay, they moved
Okay,
there from
Jesus
Minnesota. They were
Christ.
wrong side of the tracks. That was the whole fucking dynamic.
Minnesota is
Wrong
literally
side of the track.
where poor is made. Everybody knows that. That's where they manufacture poor and they ship it out from there. And so that's
They were lake people shipped to the fucking beach. What do you think's going to happen? It's going to be a lot of conflict.
That's perhaps one of my favorite.
I forgot the gritty working classes.
Yes,
of the show.
thank you.
The dad, they had moved there from Minnesota and they were like darker, like complected, not skin, but like darker hair.
Yeah, they had
They were
everybody
the
else
first
had
people
been
of color. Many of those people in
Yes.
Beverly Hills had ever seen.
They were all bleach blonde, but those two were not. And
Right.
that was to show that they were different and gross.
right. And everybody knows that Minnesota is very dark people.
Yeah.
Very brunettes, dark complexion.
It's not
for sure.
largely Scandinavian of descent. Why weren't there more fish fries at the Walsh household?
Thank
Why
you.
Didn't,
That
like,
didn't
people
track.
come-
And that's
No.
been bothering me for a while.
Why didn't people come in and they're like, "Oh, this is fucking Lake Huron gutter fish that mom's gutting a bunch of them on the counter and going like mouth to ass, just ripping it." Could you imagine an episode where they went full Minnesota?
Wow.
Now you
I
gotta
don't-
eat.
I don't think that term is usually used for cleaning a fish, but I like it.
Brenda-
Whoa, you going mouth to ass on that trout over there?
That's just what you call it when you eat the whole fish.
You go mouth
And then Brenda
to
shows up to school one day with a plastic bag filled with cheese curds, and she leaves them at room temperature. And she's like, "When they squeak, they're fresh." And this gets so
That would
Minnesota.
be authentic.
Yeah,
Now, when we talk about 90210 and the hunks of 90210, I think everybody knows exactly where we're going to go. Back in the day, you were either kind of a Brandon guy or you were a Dylan guy. Am I right? I mean, those are the two sort of
you're not
apex
wrong.
hunks.
There's a core four that we'll have to dig into. There's absolutely a core four.
There is. Let's talk about them. Of course, there were the top two. There was Jason Priestley,
Brandon.
who played Brandon,
and Luke Perry.
Luke Perry. You had, of course, then Ian Ziering, who played Steve.
Right. Now, Steve
and-
occupied a kind of impossible blonde.
Yep.
No one's been blonde the way Steve was blonde since.
Steve
And
was.
It was an
definitely
archetype
blonde.
at the time, but why? There was only one, Ian
Just
Ziering.
covered in
However-
wisps of macadamia cotton candy. It was. He was.
He looked 45 on that show as a teenager.
Yes.
He was so old. He was like perhaps balding while he was in high school. And then there's
Producer
fucking-
Ron points out Justin Timberlake occupies similar blonde territory. That is, Justin Timberlake in sync era is a sort of Ian Ziering descendant.
Tribute.
I think that's
I feel like it was a tribute to that character.
I
It
think
was.
that's accurate. There is,
And
you
then-
can definitely trace the lineage there.
And then a tribute to J.C. Chazé then
Yep,
would
nice,
have
Ben.
been
I like what you're doing.
Brian Austin Green, who was
In that they both look like they could be dancing outside your trailer for your attention.
yes,
Or land.
yes, they're
Honey,
like,
what's that noise? I'm trying to sleep, and it's just kind of a fucking D- B-boy out in the fucking trailer yard
he
dancing.
really was a D- B-boy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, that's he kind of played the, like, I'm into the urban
Right.
side of things. And we'll get into it, but,
So those are the core four for sure, as we know them.
and if I remember correctly, he was Jewish in the show. David Silver was his name. And if I remember, that was kind of the story, was that he was a little urban, but he was also very Beverly Hills. And this character, let's start talking about them. He was a very fully fleshed out character. He had a lot of problems. Like, he could be a really good guy, but I think he struggled with drugs in the show. Like that,
yeah,
his character.
He was the kid who was in trouble a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, why don't you get into Brian Austin Green, David Silver, and tell us why you modeled your teen experience on him?
Yeah, how influential was he as a role
model for you
and your breakdancing career?
I know that you're trying to be insulting, and I know that's what you're doing, but you are failing miserably because he was. Don't ask. What do you mean? First of all, you're failing because Brian Austin Green was he was in the top 3 as the most like teen beat kind of centerfoldy kind of hunk of that time. Like, this was
the name of a pro wrestler.
Yes.
Brian Austin Green.
Thank you, Andrew, for contributing nothing again to this episode. And I certainly do appreciate that you've brought your dorkness.
There's more dimension to it than maybe you missed that.
You've brought your back of the school cigarette smoking crowd into the main hallways where Adam and I are hanging out.
Yep.
And you stink.
You are such a poser in that world, Ben.
You stink like cloves.
Adam, but you don't fool me.
I hung out with them, Andrew.
Okay, stop it. Stop the free taste. If you want to listen to more of this episode, and I guarantee you do, you're going to have to go over to our Patreon, patreon.com/Grawlix Saves. Listen to the whole thing there. It gets wild. It gets heated. We do reach a resolution, and you're going to want to see what it is. So thank you for listening to that free taste of Boi Crazy, our pod within a pod. We'll be back with a regular Grawlix Saves the World next week at the regular time. Thanks for listening, y'all. Stay Boi Crazy.